Good morning and welcome to this new series I'm calling Secrets of the Huddersfield Line, a line that starts in Leeds and travels through the Pennines towards Manchester. I'm here at Leeds Station this morning and we're going to start exploring every station on the Huddersfield Line. So, where does the line start and finish, and what stations are along the line? Well, the Huddersfield Line starts in Leeds, calling at Cottingley, the new White Road station, and Morley, before entering the Morley tunnel to Batley, Dewsbury and Ravensthorpe, and onwards to Mirfield, Deansgate and Huddersfield, before calling at Stalybridge and Marsden, then entering the Stalybridge tunnel from Yorkshire to Manchester, and then calling at the likes of Mirfield, Mossley and Stalybridge, with one line splitting off directly to Manchester Piccadilly, with the other line splitting off through Ashton-Under-Lyne through to Manchester Victoria, calling at Deansgate, Manchester Oxford Road and Manchester Piccadilly down to Manchester Airport. And in this video we're exploring the stations between Leeds and Ravensthorpe, so without further ado, let's get started. It's not like I'm going to get scrambled by TP at all today. Well, I might be clickbaiting that or jinxing it right now, but we'll give it a shot anyway. So without further ado, let's explore the secrets of Leeds. This is Leeds City Station, which is one of the third busiest stations outside of London, with 18 platforms and a recently added platform 0. There were two stations that sat on the site of today's Leeds City Station, Leeds Wellington to the north and Leeds New Station to the south, which opened in the mid-1800s, before being merged into Leeds City Station in 1938. However, there's little remains of the old Leeds Wellington Station, but the Northern Concourse just off from the ticket hall, which features some amazing Art Deco architecture, was built in the 1930s to connect then two separate stations together in 1938. Where the McDonald's and Starbucks are located today was once the entrance through to the platforms of Old Leeds Wellington Station. These platforms were demolished as part of rebuilding Leeds Station in the 1960s. It also connected the station to the rebuilt Queen's Hotel. The former site of Leeds New Station are where today's platforms 1 to 13 are now, with the dark arches below supporting the station above, the River Aire and the Liverpool and Leeds Canal passing through underneath. Anyway, enough with the facts, let's get into some of the secrets of Leeds. Well, the first one isn't really a proper secret, but not many people know it exists or don't use it. Well, it's the southern entrance to the station, which features a stunning arched roof, which is suspended over the rear, allowing access to Granary Wharf and Holbeck. It also lays out onto the dark arches, where you can see this stunning light installation that was commissioned in 2009 as part of the city's regeneration programme. At the time of recording, the colours were cycling through the colours of the Union Jack flag. There was also a staircase from the main entrance down onto Bishopsgate Road. If you go back around 10 years ago on Google Maps, you can still see the entrance in use. It has now been sealed off as the area is being redeveloped and will look something like this when it's completed. Anyway, that's enough of Leeds. Let's jump on a train and move on down the line to the next station. So here I'm at Cottingley, which is the first stop down the line from Leeds. Opened in 1988 and will be closing this year in 2023 to be replaced with a new White Road station, which is only 750 metres down the line here, which will bring better access to the White Road shopping complex and business park that's down there, which has been poorly served for the last 20 years, so it's about time it's got a rail connection. But it might also pave the way for this so-called mass transit that they're planning to put on this line. Who knows if that'll happen? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Cottingley used to have the tallest flats in Leeds in the 1970s. Obviously, that's just the only good thing about Cottingley. There's nothing much here. I don't know what else there is to say about Cottingley. I think they extended the platform about 5-10 years ago, but I don't know what else there is to say. Okay, so obviously walking up the platform here, you can sort of see this is the old existing platform. And you can kind of just sort of see here where it sort of crosses over onto the new bit, where they've obviously quite obviously extended it. But what's quite interesting is actually gaps underneath the platforms, which is interesting for a station. So it looks like it's just been plonked on stilts, which is quite unusual actually. I've never seen that before. But you can definitely tell where they've extended the platforms, and obviously the fence changes, but quite interesting really. Okay, this is interesting. I've just noticed something here. You've got a new Alphabet 2 style station name, and then you've got the generic Metro West Yorkshire station sign. It's really, really interesting how there's two different variations of station signs here. Cottingley heading south towards Morley, you will see the new site on the White Road station, which is almost complete. It's due to open later in 2023. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for a video on the new White Road station when it opens. Anyway, on to Morley. So here we are at Morley, just south of Leeds. It is a very quiet station. It's along the entrance to the tunnel through to Batley, and it will be replaced with a new station just to the north here, and it will bring better accessibility and a better footbridge and a new look for Morley. As the current station, which is probably seeing better days at this point, but the sad thing is you will lose the lovely footbridge that goes over from platform 1 to platform 2. So this is Morley, also was once known as Morley Low. There was also another station here known as Morley Tops, which we're going to go and explore, where the old site used to be. After a quick walk up some steps from the station, along some roads through the town centre, you'll come across this roundabout where you'll see the Aldi supermarket, which used to be the old former site of the Morley Top station, closed in the 1960s. Anyway, this is what it would have looked like, and that was the history of Morley's old station. Anyway, let's head back to the current day station and head down the line to our next stop. So here I am at Batley, which is 4 stations down the line from Leeds. It is home to Fox's Biscuits, where, I don't know, it's also got its own mill, which is now a shopping centre. It is a mill town, that's where it traditionally gets its name from. It used to have 5 platforms back in the day, but obviously a lot of that were lost to the Beeching Act, so at the moment it only has 2 platforms and gets about a half-hourly service. It does have, I believe, the only and the last place in West Yorkshire with a functioning signal box and level crossing, which is soon to be replaced. Obviously, they've electrified the line between Manchester and Leeds, so obviously that will be going soon. So let's go and have a look and see where that is. So heading out of Batley station, just a quick walk through the streets of Batley, over the railway bridge, which gives you lovely views of Batley station to the south and towards Dewsbury. Heading up Primrose Hill towards the remains of the Old Lady Anne crossing and Batley signal box. Do you know I filmed this in the middle of May? Obviously a lot's changed since the time of this video being uploaded, as the crossing has now closed and the signal box is now no longer in operation, as it's been taken over with digital signalling from York. Also, what's quite interesting here at Batley, it has actually got some original white brick and old original stair features, which is obviously not in use, so to build a new staircase around it. As you leave Batley heading towards Dewsbury, you cross over the beautiful Union Mill Viaduct, gives you stunning views of the industrial parts of Batley, and there was also once a Hollywood sign located around here. This has since been removed. As you approach Dewsbury Station, you cross Dewsbury Viaduct, which gives you views overlooking the town centre and the remains of old Dewsbury Central. So here we are at Dewsbury, the next stop down the line from Leeds, which was once formerly known as Dewsbury Wellington Road, which opened in 1848 as a Grade 2 listed station, and in June 2023 celebrated its 175th anniversary since the station first opened. The current day station is the only remaining station in the town. The other two stations were Dewsbury Central and Dewsbury Marketplace, which closed in the 1960s. So, where were they? Dewsbury Central Station, which closed in 1965, was then located on what became part of Dewsbury's Ring Road in the 1980s, which follows along the old railway alignment and the old Dewsbury Central Station. The only remains of the old station are the Farkin, which is used to support the Ring Road above, and the old station hotel, which is now being converted into a pub, can be seen from Crackenhedge Lane. Right, let's watch an old black and white film. There's some old footage of what the station used to look like as if you were riding into the station in the early 1900s. The other station was Dewsbury Marketplace, which was the station that sat on a spare track that came off the Huddersfield to Wakefield line. The station was one of the least used stations in the town that was located next to the town hall, which closed to passengers in 1930 and to freight traffic in 1961. The West Riding pub attached to the station is one of the many pubs along the Trans-Pennine Ale route, with people hopping on and off trains at Batley, here at Dewsbury, Mirfield, Huddersfield, Slough, Marston, Greenfield and Stalybridge. It is also one of the few places where you can walk out of the pub onto the westbound platform. If you've ever been to Dewsbury or passed through the station, you might have noticed there's a track in the middle which allows the direct Huddersfield to Leeds services to bypass the station. Well, there used to be an island platform at the station which was removed, and the current day eastbound platform was built in the early 1900s, with it being extended in the late 1900s. But if you've ever been stood on the platforms at Dewsbury and wondered why is the windows underneath the platform edge, well, that was part of the old disused subway that connected the island platform to the westbound platform. It was last used in the early 1900s before the start of the First World War.
When you come down here at the steps, you could either come down to the left or the right, and the steps will come round and you'll be able to see when we go around the corner that they'll meet.
We meet in the middle,
Yeah.
right.
This part's been filled in, it would have been much lower. You would have continued walking down the steps until you got to the middle here, and here you can see where the archway's been filled in.
So this is the archway that went underneath the track. So
It would have gone down much lower.
Right.
when it was built. It has been filled in here.
And apparently a lot of people they've been asking about the windows. Haven't they,
People
for a
have
while?
often inquired why there's windows in the edge of the track. So now they can see what's behind the windows.
Well, we've discovered quite a lot of secrets of Dewsbury. Anyway, let's jump on the train and head on to our next stop. So here we are at Ravensthorpe, which is the next station on the line, and it's another one of those stations which is in the middle of absolute nowhere. But it is another example of one of those stations that's going to be closed and moved and rebuilt because of the route upgrades on Transpennine. So this is sort of another station which is the last time to visit, but it's also one of those stations that's actually really nice. It sits next to the 4-0 junction, which allows trains to come off the Huddersfield line and go through to Wakefield Kirkgate and into Leeds that way, which is used as a diversionary when engineering work is being done on the line. This is the last station in this episode of Secrets of the Huddersfield Line, where it's been more exploring it, but it's a bit of both. I think that's the point of it. I think you can't find secrets of every station, so you just got to accept that sometimes. But I will admit, it has got this beautiful, like, heritage red footbridge that you can use to change platforms. Because I'm on this platform, which you can't actually change. There's no exit, so the exit's on this side. Also, I've noticed something today which is an unexpected surprise. There's a few stations along this line that have actually got the new Rail Health Threat 2 signage that's been rolled out. You've probably have seen it more probably in London, but there's a few cases on the Huddersfield line where you can see it. It is at Cottingley still. There's a Rail Health Threat 2 sign, which we covered earlier on today. There also is another one here at Ravensthorpe, and there is one at Huddersfield. The one here and at Huddersfield is just the way out signs. It's quite interesting to see how it looks very London-esque, but in Yorkshire, which is quite weird. Also, another thing, I'm going to start doing this as a bonus add-on because the chances of me doing the line that splits off to Wakefield, because there isn't actually any stations on that line, but there is one thing I can tell you. There is an abandoned goods yard halfway down there at Healy Mills, which used to be operational until about 6 or 7 years ago when it closed. But what's more hilarious is that Orbit Bridge, which is just literally a couple of metres from the old goods yard at Healy Mill, is quite honestly hilarious to say. Cars tend to drive onto the railway and break through the bridge, then the trains do run down there. I'm not kidding you, but that's happened about a couple of times. So that's it. We've explored and looked at some of the secrets between Leeds and Ravensthorpe on the Huddersfield line. In the next episode, we'll be exploring the stations between Mirfield and Mossley in Manchester. So yes, we are crossing the border in the next episode. But until then, see you later.